Welcome to Good Morning Hospitality, your one-stop shop for the latest news, noteworthy trends, and thought-provoking discussions across the industry. From hotels and short-term rentals to all things travel and hospitality, you'll find each episode equips you with the information that you need to start your week. Join us on Good Morning Hospitality every Monday, wherever you get your podcasts.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, hello. How's everybody doing?
Living the dream. It's nice that, F1's back in season. We had the summer break and life's good for me. How about you guys?
I love your newfound love of F1 because Will of last year had never even heard of F1. So
That's not true.
dive
Not
in deep,
true.
buddy. Dive in deep.
Not true,
Yeah.
but all right.
Listen,
I'll
we all
argue that
have to
one.
have hobbies. It's okay.
Whatever. I didn't come on this show to be belittled by Michael. Just kidding.
That's what we
Anyways.
do. That's what friends do.
Anyways.
The girls
No,
are
this is exciting. Oh, I love it. Well, how's your guys' week, life? All is well.
Good. Still getting settled into the apartment. A lot of progress has been made. Animal warfare still at a standoff. No progress. But it's good. Nice and relaxing.
Slowly integrating.
Slowly
Yeah.
Golden,
Just
all the same.
getting ready got some fall travels. Everybody gets moving again in the fall. We're out of the summer slog. So got a number of trips on the books already, and I'm sure another one or two will pop up. But conference season is upon us.
That is true. And just as we like to do on this show, let's perfectly segue into welcoming our guests because conference season is upon us. And we want to make sure this is out before the conference season. So that way, when we see everybody, we all know that Marriott Homes and Villas is the channel to go to. So this episode is actually all about Marriott Homes and Villas. And we're actually going to welcome Keven Wishard, who is the head of global and continent operations at Homes and Villas. So let's give him a big warm welcome and discuss all things distribution and loyalty. Here we go. Good morning, Keven.
Good morning.
Welcome to Good Morning Hospitality. And as I got to hear backstage, this is your first podcast, so welcome. We're super honored to have you.
Very excited. So thanks for having me.
Of course.
It's just like a Zoom call, it's no different, just recorded. Yeah, so glad to have you on. We do bring up Marriott quite regularly, organically. Excited to have you guys working with us, but maybe a quick intro on yourself and how you got started in the industry and then how you ended up where you are today.
Sure. So, and we appreciate your partnership with us. So we're glad to talk about what we're doing in this little space. So I have been with Marriott almost 31 years. So I've been around a little while, spent a lot of my career in the sales discipline and then in hotel operations. And I've been with Homes and Villas for the last 4 years. I sort of fell into hospitality, just a fluke, not sure what I wanted to do. I was in grad school and, this is one of those things. My resume got handed to the right person. And the next thing I know, I was in the hotel space and I've never looked back. So it's a lot of fun. So with Homes and Villas, I oversee the operations team. So that includes customer support, partner support, our curation and onboarding teams, brand standards, and then finally our regulatory team. So it's everything in the middle that keeps the little business running. And that's why I'm not usually out in front. I have other peers that do that. So I'm excited to be out behind the back door, so to speak. So,
well, you've got 3 ops people on the phone right now, so we feel the pain of all of the ins and outs that go on the daily.
Yeah,
yep.
and I have to say your entry into the business is like almost exactly mine. I was in grad school, had no intention or even thought of going into hospitality, and then here we are. So it's funny. I think a lot of people, especially on the STR side, also just like happen to find their way into the business.
Yep.
I was the exact same. A friend passed my resume to one of his buddies, and he called me, and that was Mickey Crop that rented at the time. So yeah, just found our way in here, but I wouldn't change it for the world. Love the space.
Agreed. Yeah, we all stumbled into hospitality somehow, but it's cool to see how your story, going from the hotel side and then actually, retiring to now come back and to run the homes and villas department. So, well, business in itself is seen quite a few changes. I would love to know from just your perspective, right? Coming into this short-term rental side versus the hotel world that you were so used to. Kind of tell me what got you excited about the homes and villas business.
So, well, I didn't, didn't know a lot about the business. So I had to do my own research. I'd heard about the brand, but had never experienced the brand. But and I think my experience is sort of similar to our own experience about getting into the space. We saw an opportunity. We saw an opportunity that, we had Bonvoy members that were leaving our ecosystem and booking into this space, and upwards of 27% actually. And so obviously we wanted to recapture that. Did a little research on understanding maybe what are the opportunities, which was quality, accuracy, and loyalty. And that's when the aha moment is like, okay, we have 95 years of experience on the hospitality side, on the hotel space. We know how to create a quality product. We know how to create a great customer experience. And we know how to show loyalty and take care of our members. So when I came into this space, I pretty thought, like, okay, this could easily transfer my experience on hotel operations into this. And there are a lot of similarities, but there's a great deal of differences. So, and that's what's been fun because we are we're identifying problems and we're creating new solutions. Our core approach on the hotel side is not a perfect fit on this side, right? So that's what I really enjoy, coming up with how do we solve a problem, seeing it implement, and then watching the results of it. And there's just so many opportunities for us. So that's what's been fun. And the business has evolved. And I know maybe your questions will go in other places, but we've learned a lot from coming into this space. And we've evolved and learned from our partners, learned from our customers, and continue to try to improve the business. So,
Yeah, you touched on something, and we talk about this a lot on the show. The blending of hotels and vacation rentals, and
mhm.
especially coming out of COVID and the lack of financial discipline on short-term rentals writ large. We've learned a lot from hotel space and dialing in operations and things like that. I think hotels have learned a lot from short-term rentals on how to operate remotely or digitally and things like that. What do you guys see, and how do you see the industry continuing to meld together?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's a great merging. So we try to make sure that whatever the customer's travel need is, that we're going to have a product to meet it, right? And so you're always going to be seeing hotels going up in spaces where there's a good amount of demand. There's something drawing people there, and new brands will be created, or new extensions of brands. Sort of this space, the home vacation space is very organic, right? And so you can come up with a great new destination or a great new lodging type, like tiny homes, and you can plop it down, and then you can use a platform like ours to attract, travelers to that new experience. We are seeing we're seeing a great deal more merging of guests that are taking a vacation, and they will spend their first week, say, in a traditional city center like Florence, staying in a hotel, seeing the sights. And then they might see that second week, they're booking a home in the Tuscan, countryside, and slowing down a little bit more and just enjoying what's around them. They might cook themselves. So that's what's exciting to see, that merging, that they can kind of dovetail, you take both types within the same vacation. And then we're also, we keep getting interest from our corporate travel. So some of our accounts that are historically doing business with the hotels, their own travelers are asking about using our space for their business travel. And so we're working on some of the avenues there. So that's quite exciting. So I think they complement each other very well. And what's great about our business is that we don't really go after the markets and destinations where Marriott has a good, strong footprint, right? We we really get excited when we can go to a destination where there is no Marriott, like our tiny homes that we just launched in rural Australia. So you're not
Mm.
there's no local hotel
Not a whole lot of
to help
competition out
bring it. No, no. So it's just great to be able to provide a new destination, that travelers may not know about, and that's what's exciting. So I think there's a great blending of the two.
Well, I wanna go on that Italian vacation. That sounds
Yes.
pretty nice. And so kind of speaking to these different, areas that are either becoming more popular, where are you guys seeing a lot of new partners come onto the platform? And then where are some locations that are maybe a little bit slower to populate?
That's a great question. So when we first started out, we were casting a very wide net, right? So we were popping homes and partners anywhere we could, really. And we predominantly started with US, Canada, and then quickly launched over into Europe, and then down to the Caribbean and Latin America. And then finally, early last year, we entered Asia. Um, Today, we're a little more strategic about where we want to grow. So we're looking at where there is strong demand, but not quite enough supply. We're also looking at new emerging destinations. Again, going back to that, Australia example. And then again, we're looking for markets where Marriott really does not have a presence. Now, today we add as many homes to the platform, US and Canada, as well as international. So they're pretty much on par with each other, which was not always the case, right? In terms of growth, beach destinations, ski destinations are quite popular, especially in the States. We have a lot more opportunity on the West Coast, Phoenix, San Diego, places like that. There's more opportunity in Canada. On the international side, France has opportunity, Mexico, and then there's a lot of opportunity in Asia. You got Japan, Thailand, Malaysia, Sri Lanka, places that we have just put a toe in, right? But that we really want to grow further. So there's a lot of opportunity in that space. So
Yeah. So, kind of speaking of those early days, at Romy at the time, Sextant Stays, we were one of the first, property managers that you onboarded. And so,
mm,
something I think is really fun is at the time, in that first year or so, it was a trickle in, which makes sense. New channel, people are still getting, familiar with it. And then now, year to date, around 4% of our revenue pickup has been through Marriott Homes and Villas. So it's become definitely more of a channel that we, rely on and for our distribution mix. But kind of in those early days, the process was incredibly robust. It was almost like applying to, merge with a company. And so I guess kind of what have you learned from those early days to now about onboarding, and what are some of the key takeaways or lessons that you've learned?
yeah. Well, thank you for going through that experience, because I came in. Um, probably right about the time you were experiencing that pain, right? So, and one of the first things, and our approach to this was sort of to take the blueprint on the hotel side and bring it over to this space, right? So, if you look at our brand standards, when we wrote our brand standards, we did a lot of lifting and shifting over into this space, and those brand standards were very, very specific and very detailed. Other things like the financial, the insurance requirements, dotting your I's and crossing your T's, sort of like anything that we were doing on the hotel side, we really tried to adopt over here. Quickly found out that, while a lot of that was a lot of good intentions, it's not really a perfect fit. So take brand standards, for instance, right? So say you have a hotel, you're going to have a courtyard, right? So we will be very specific. This is where you will buy your linens from. This is the linen count, etc. Um, and that was in our brand standards when you probably first came on board. And so we've learned that that's these are individual homes. We can't drive that same level of consistency. We can't monitor that, and it's just too difficult for our partners as well. So that's a standard we would tweak, and now we just provide require the quantity linen, but then we also back that up by providing a procurement program for our partners to buy in or buy from our own Marriott vendors, so that we can help with that, making sure it's a quality linen. Other things like we've learned from is when it comes to kitchens, right? So we require a full kitchen, so we took that globally. Then you get over into Japan, and guess what? They don't have ovens, right? So that's not really something that is in a home. And so by doing our research and looking at the product there and understanding what the guests are actually interested in and what's to be offered, we made an exception to that. So we've had a lot of learnings from the brain standard perspective. Then on the onboarding, one of the first things that I did when I came on board is we flow chart out all the steps that we were taking our partners through, and really trying to streamline that down. I think it was taking 12, 14, 16 weeks to onboard a partner. And we really tried to strip down things so that we could speed things up. And we made a lot of process changes. And then we started to limit the number of things that we were having our partners go through, and trying to how can we parse that out so it's not drinking from a fire hose all at one time. So I think our onboarding now is you can get on board 6 to 8 weeks. And there's more to do there. We have still good opportunity to make it simple. So there's some of the learnings that we've had. I could talk all day about
Yeah.
the learnings in this space, but we really do not want to be so specific, so high-handed that we're not able to listen and learn and adapt as we get to know more partners in different parts of the world. They all operate differently. You can't really take the same approach across the board. So I think that's one of our key goals right now is how do we learn from our partners?
And
Yeah, I
short-term
think being
is the Wild West. So
yeah. I
you can't fit it. You can't fit us in a box.
I was gonna
No,
say,
no.
it's like the being adaptable is like one of the core values of being in the short-term rental industry. And one of my funniest memories of that onboarding process was getting in the packet and I'm filling everything out. And then it's like all the different contacts for finance, marketing, government, all these different things. And I was like, it's just me. And I remember
Yeah.
sending it back to whoever, I can't remember who we were working with at the time. And they're like, "You're the person for all of this?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's
Yep.
a much smaller business than I think you might be imagining."
And we have a lot of that. We have a lot of what we call mom and pops. I don't know if
Mhm.
that's the right term, but
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. It's not, you don't have someone that's in charge of customer support and another person in charge of finance and another person in charge of regulatory. It's that one person, right? So that was some good learnings. And then you talked about the wild, wild west. The US and Canada, a lot of uh, partners, they pretty much operate similar, right? They size is different. When you really want to talk about the Wild Wild West is when you go overseas, right? And you go into some of these new countries where Marriott doesn't have a presence, right? That's where we are doing a lot of learning, like how they approach the business, how do they approach managing the homes, how do they approach managing the homeowner, how do they do customer service? So
Yeah.
it gets really different over there.
Absolutely. Well, 200 plus million elephant in the room is your loyalty program, and
Mhm.
how big of a behemoth it is, really compared to anything else in the travel sector writ large. What is the breakdown of guests who come and pay for their stays versus redeem points or loyalty transactions?
That's a great question. I will say 95% of our bookings come from our Bonvoy members, right?
Wow.
And that's great. And a lot of them have no experience in this space. Like we are their first entry into booking a home, right? So that comes with pluses and it comes also with opportunities, right? Um, the breakdown, I think, so you can book all points, you can book cash in points, or you can book cash. I think points bookings represent about 30% or more of our reservations. I could be off on that. It's not a number I looked up recently.
All right, everybody. Kevin says he didn't check these numbers, but thankfully we did. We talked to the teams at Homes and Villas and we made sure to get this number correct. But actual usage of people that redeem points upon booking is in the range of 45 to 55%. Now that's significant, and that's a good chunk of loyalty members using points. So that's our fact check of the week. Thank you to the team at Homes and Villas for making sure we had the right numbers for you listeners. And now we're back to the episode.
I will say that last year, 2023, we had 5.8 billion points redeemed, and we will exceed that in 2024.
Wow.
In fact, we had
A lot of
one
points.
booking. I think they used 11 million points for their 3-week stay in Lake Tahoe. And I think that's really our competitive advantage, right? Because you you can earn points, and you're going to earn points faster on a homes and villas booking because the average booking is exponentially bigger than an average hotel stay. So you're going to earn points quickly, and you're also able to redeem points. And so going back to that guest that redeemed 11 million points, that would have taken a lot of hotel stays to ever redeem that many points. So it's a benefit to the guests that's got all these points that they want to use. And Marriott's trying to give them not only a business like ours, but now you see experiences where you can redeem your points for experiences. So I think it's a win-win for everybody.
Obviously, distribution is such an important piece for vacation rental managers, especially with homes. Having the loyalty aspect from Marriott Bonvoy had a big role. Can you just share any of the thoughts that you think that loyalty and the distribution kind of channel play together?
I think what's attractive to our partners when it comes to our business is our loyalty members, and 197 million that really don't seem to have a lot of experience in this space. So you are tapping into new customers. And we do hear from our partners that, the Bonvoy member is a different customer. Comes, there's two sides of that coin, right? Like the Bonvoy members typically take good care of the property, but they also come with high expectations, right? The minute you put the Marriott name on anything, a guest has a very different expectation of what they're going to get. They're going to assume quality, they're going to assume consistency, and they're going to have a lot of trust in that, right? And so our job is to make sure we never do anything to infringe upon that, and that we're always building that up, right? And to go back to your question, so if I'm answering it, so our loyalty program driving new customers to partners also drives new homeowners to partners, right? So they use our name to kind of give them credibility that they are a very good property management company, and so that it helps them attract new homeowners. They also have homeowners coming to them, and they want to get on, or they actually come to us. Homeowners want to come to us and they want to get on our platform. They want to be in our portfolio, and then we turn around and connect them with one of our good, strong partners, right? So that's helping them. And we also, just the way that we curate, this is going off tangent, but the way we curate and we only accept about 45% of the homes that are offered to us. There's a big chunk that, they're just not, it's not the quality, that we want. But then there's a group of homes that, we do like it, but, it needs a renovation. It needs, maybe one part of the home is off. Kitchens and bathrooms seem to be the last thing that homeowners do. The
They're
rest of the home could be
expensive.
beautiful. Have a dated kitchen or a dated bathroom. Right. It's where the most expense is, right? And so we'll reject the home, but the property management company will go back and to that homeowner and say, hey, Marriott is interested in your home, but they'd like to see the kitchen renovated. And then the homeowner has a choice. So I don't know if that answers your question about distribution eh, and loyalty, but some of my thoughts on that. But
Yeah, that's all
Yeah,
I
I
wanted. Just some thoughts.
okay.
and it's interesting. So our product is full building multifamily, so not the kind of like bigger homes. But we have a couple of landlords who are now particularly interested in whether their building is doing well on Marriott or not. And we've used that to kind of prod them along to make some improvements that they were kind of dragging their feet. And we're just like, yeah, I mean, if you don't do this, like you could be on the chopping block or something, or it used to be that they were only aware of like Airbnb as a possible option. And now Marriott, I think, has a little bit of like a sheen, especially if they're Bonvoy members. So it's definitely helpful in providing value on the other side, not just from the customer side.
Yeah, that's great. I love hearing that. And there's still so much opportunity. Like we're just scratching the surface of our Bonvoy members to our platform. So there's a great deal of opportunity for us to continue to grow and introduce them to some of these great partners that have these great homes and great destinations. So yeah.
So, Kevin, you've touched on this a couple times. You try not to oversaturate vacation rentals in markets where there's hotels, and I'm sure there's a big balancing act internally. Hopefully, it's not your role, but how do you balance the hotel owners being pissed off that now Marriott's competing with them in a lot of people's eyes? I think those of us that are deep in the industry know there's a very clear delineation of a guest that's booking or looking to book a vacation rental versus a hotel. But I think a lot of the old school hoteliers probably just see it as straight up competition. And so
Right.
how do you balance that out internally?
Yeah. That's a great question. And you're right. Very early on, this was a major concern for our hotel owners, right? Um, Even though they really don't compete with each other, right? Now, maybe during COVID, people were fleeing hotels and going to homes, but really, we serve really different needs, right? How we manage that is we did stay out of certain markets. So certain markets where there was a lot of Marriott presence, and if the hotels were struggling, right? We might delay going into a market, and there's still some markets where hotels haven't totally rebounded. Some international markets, and so we intentionally don't put that at the top of our list, right? I I think today, a lot of that has diminished because hotel occupancies are doing really well, right? And hotels have largely rebounded, and so there's in fact, I can't remember the last time I've heard. It's not my job. I'm not the develop team. That's Chris, I think, is who's been on your group, right? I'm part of those conversations, but I don't think we hear a lot of that anymore. There might be a pocket here and there, but largely that has gone away. So today we still we pretty much there are some markets we don't go into for other reasons other than hotel owners, but largely we'll go where the demand is and where there's not oversupply, right? So
Yeah, it makes total sense. And I'm gonna make this up, and you correct me, but the
okay.
average home and villa is probably a 3-bedroom house, 3-bed, 2-bath, something like that. And, you can very clearly say to the hotel owner, like, your product is not competitive with one another.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. You're pretty much. And this is another answer to that question. So in some places, like to not compete with certain brands, like on the extended stay side, we required like a unit, and we don't have any studios, right? So it's a 1 bedroom or more. The average is, like you said, 3 bedroom. But that unit had to have an in-house washer and dryer, which is a distinction from a hotel that might have a similar product, right? Where you can do an extended stay. So we did that early on, and that today we don't do that as much because again, the owner concerns have largely diminished. But that was another way we would try to differentiate
I
ourselves.
like that.
Yeah. So this is what's exciting. There's just,
An
just
onion. Keep peeling it back.
it's I love it, and I just every day it's something new we get to learn and try and adapt to. So this is what's really exciting for a man who's had this many years in this business. So
Well, shifting gears, we like to wrap up with a couple of quick questions with our guests.
okay.
Where is the favorite place you've ever traveled to, and the place that you want to travel to most that you've never been?
Okay, I'll answer the last question first. My mom asks me this question all the time. She's almost 85. She has a bit of dementia, so she doesn't know she asks me the question all the time. But she says, where do you want to live? And I give the same answer, and it's Tokyo. Now, I don't really want to live there, but I do want to visit Tokyo. So I'm fascinated with Japan. And so but if I could choose one place to travel to, that would be it. My happy place, I don't know if this answers the first question, but my happy place is Maine. So, I love Maine. Now we don't have a lot of hotels in the parts of the Maine that I like to be in. But we are starting to populate some of our homes in that state in some places. And I'm excited to try them out. My favorite, my favorite resort. Now, I'm not a world traveler like some of my peers. I'm a U.S., Canada, mostly traveler. I'll do my international travel maybe after I stop working or something. But Camelback Resort is my favorite Marriott resort out in Phoenix, and I love the desert.
Yeah.
I love that hot heat that doesn't have any humidity for a guy that grew up in Florida. So there is a difference in the heat.
Big
There is
difference.
absolutely, as another Florida resident, there is absolutely a difference. Your hair
And
will
that,
tell the difference immediately.
that's a great resort. Yeah, I've been out to that one as well. So nice.
Same here. Who else? Brandy, you got a rapid fire question?
Well, I think it was kind of already answered, but sea or ski vacation. I would hazard a guess that you're a sea vacation kind of guy.
That's yeah, I would say so. Yeah. I can ski. It's just not, I don't enjoy it. Like it just seems like a lot of work, right? So
Yeah.
now water ski, yes, I can water ski, and that seems a lot easier to do than snow skiing. But
Yeah.
I'll be more of
As someone who grew up snow skiing, I love it. But I was in line last season and these guys behind me were saying, we spend a lot of money to be so uncomfortable. And I was like,
yes.
yeah, that pretty much sums up skiing.
The boots, they're
Oh,
got your
yeah.
ankles part funny, and so yeah. So
I love it. I love it. Well, my one of my favorite questions to ask is beer, wine, or cocktail.
beer, wine, or cocktail. Okay, so I didn't grow up drinking a lot of beer, but I've recently a friend has introduced me to beer, and so I do like the occasional beer. I don't think it's still my go-to.
Mm.
I definitely don't like an IPA. I just can't drink an
Same.
IPA. But I like craft beers, and I like going to breweries that are local and making their own. I'm sort of both a wine and a cocktail. So I drink wine during the week, red wine,
Okay.
full bodied, not dry. And then on the weekend is when I have my gin and tonic. So
There we
I'm
go.
a
There we
big gin and
go.
tonic girl as well. I love gin and tonics. What's your favorite gin?
Amsterdam, New Amsterdam. So
Okay, okay. I'm normally a Hendrix girl,
okay.
but there's one of my favorite brands. I think they started importing it to Florida. Is a brand called Nordez, from Spain, and I could only find it when I lived there, and it just started seeing it in the shelves here. So in Florida, when you're here, take a look around. If you see Nordez, I think you'll really like it.
All right. I'll keep that in mind.
I think Kevin and Brandy just became best friends on
Yes.
the
Yeah, perfect. We'll meet at a Marriott, and then we'll have some G&Ts.
Excellent.
I'm coming to Florida for that trip. Um, but no, this has been good, Kevin. We really appreciate you taking the time to share some light and insight on the Homes and Villas business. It sounds like you guys are cooking up a lot of exciting things. So I'm sure we'll have you back on in the future.
Excellent. Well, this was a lot of fun. I appreciate. Thank you for making making it so comfortable and fun. So appreciate it.
Of course. Next time we'll have gin and tonics for all the listeners
Yes.
to, who have a little bit of FOMO going into this episode. But thank you again, Kevin, and for all the listeners, we want to make sure that you guys not only like and subscribe to the show, but like and subscribe to everything Homes and Villas by Marriott. They're such great partners of ours, and we've obviously had such a great success with having Kevin on the show. It's so much good insight and so many good things for operators to take into their business and actually start applying. So thank you again, Kevin. We really appreciate you. And for all the Good Morning Hospitality listeners, we'll see you guys again next week.